with a speech entitled Starstruck. Please welcome Joan Fitzgerald.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, Starstruck. I have this problem. If I meet a celebrity, I'm just absolutely frozen to the spot. I don't know if any of the rest of you suffer from it, but I certainly have the problem. And I think it stems back to my first encounter with the celebrity when I was about 8 or 9 years of age. I was in the Girl Guides and we were doing a door-to-door collection for Trócaire. And I was with a friend of mine and we were making our way along the road and people were praising us and giving us big donations. And we came to this house and we suspected that Dickie Rock lived in that house. We were all aflutter and excited. This is now the 1960s, you know, so we tentatively knocked on the door and we could see this kind of daddy long-legged figure coming down to meet us, and we were absolutely really excited to travel frequently to the States, to headquarters, which was in California, actually close to Los Angeles. So I used to take the flight from Dublin to LA on Aer Lingus very frequently. Now, because of my role and because of the amount of time I was on the flight, I had the luxury sometimes of traveling business class. And business class on Aer Lingus is extremely small. There's only about 30 seats. And because it was to LA, which is the airport for Hollywood, any Irish celebrity that had any name at all was in business class. So star spotting sort of became a hobby with us when we were traveling. The one that gave me the most excitement was I was sitting in row number 2, the seat beside me was empty, the seat in front was also empty, the 2 seats in front, until just before the flight took off. And there was a bevy of excitement among the air stewards, and Colin Farrell was issued into the seat in front of me. Now I'm sitting about 4 feet away from him for 10 hours. And to think I could get to talk to him, get the courage up just even to say hello or smile or, you know, make eye contact, I couldn't. Even when the flight finished and he stood up and I stood up, we were 2 or 3 feet apart, you know, still couldn't. So anyway, all I wanted to tell him was, in Bruges had just come out, I just wanted to tell him how brilliant he was in Bruges and how funny I found it. But no, I couldn't do it. So speaking of in Bruges brings me to another encounter that I had. Again, same route, same old journey, and this time I was on the far side of the plane and I was in seat number 1. And a gentleman was issued seat number 2, and the seat beside me, and he sat down. And you know, it's a 10-hour flight, so you're very cagey before you start up a conversation with the person beside you. But this man appeared extremely friendly, and we started chatting, and we got into a conversation. Well, about a few minutes into the conversation, I realised I was in trouble. No matter what I said to this man, he had a bigger or better experience. And everything I said, he contradicted. You know, just as an example, he took the magazine out from the seat, from the wall in front, and there was a diagram of LAX airport. And he said that when we land, we go straight to the Bradley terminal, and it'll be straight through customs, and we'll be straight out the airport. It'll be great. And I said, well, actually, I have bad news for you, because they're doing construction work in LAX, and we'd actually be put in a temporary spot and bussed into the Bradley terminal. So he said, oh no, we won't. I'm trapped. I was here 6 months ago. That doesn't happen. I said, okay, but how are you? And at this stage, I was beginning to get kind of frantic, and I looked around the plane, and there were 2 empty seats across from us. So I said, okay, when the flight takes off, I'm going to move. So as the flight was taking off, he pulled out the list of films that were on the flight, and he pointed to the first film, and he said, that's a coincidence, he said. See, first film in Bruges. And I said, yes. And he said, the actor's on this flight. I said, what? Colin Farrell again? I couldn't believe it. And he said, no, Brendan Gleeson. So I looked around. Now, it's a small area, and Brendan Gleeson's a big man. So if he was on the flight, you'd see him, you know. Brendan Gleeson of kind of the general or Churchill fame with that wisp of blonde hair, etc. So I looked around just to be sure there was no sign of Brendan Gleeson. But who I had seen getting on the plane was Colin Meaney. You know Colin Meaney of the dad and snappy curly hair. So I said to him, do you mean the chap 3 or 4 seats back? And he said, yes. And I said, that's not Brendan Gleeson, that's Colin Meaney. So I said, no, he said to me, it is Brendan Gleeson, it's definitely Brendan Gleeson. I said, I don't think so, definitely. It's Colin Meany, he's the guy in the snap and the commitments, etc. He said, no, it's Brendan Gleeson. I said, fine, okay, if you say it's Brendan Gleeson, it's Brendan Gleeson. So anyway, the flight took off and I moved seats. And I settled down and I had my dinner and I was reading my book and I was just about to go off for snooze. When this man got up to go, I thought, he went down to the back of the cabin. And on his way back up, he stopped beside my seat. I said, I told you, it's Brendan Gleeson. I said, how do you know? And he said, I asked him, was he Brendan Gleeson? And he said he was. So, with that, I couldn't help smirking, but I just said, you know, In Bruges is a great film, you should watch it, it's really funny. So I don't know if he watched In Bruges, but when we were being bussed in from the airplane to the terminal, I couldn't catch his eye, he wouldn't. So, whatever about being starstruck, at least I don't turn around and make a fool of myself like this guy did.